Hey students, how are you all? Once again, welcome to another session of your online English classes. In today's video, once again, we're not going to discuss anything based on your literature chapters, but we're going to discuss a bit of grammar. Our today's topic of discussion is the grammar chapter, prepositions. We have already learned about adverbs. Now we're going to learn about prepositions. Now once again, this is something that you already know about. You have learned about it in great details right from when you first learned about prepositions. So today we are once again going to brush up your already acquired knowledge on prepositions. But before we delve into a deep discussion about what prepositions are or what types of prepositions are there, it's very important to know what exactly is a preposition. So, if you are asked to define what exactly prepositions are, you can write a word or word phrase that shows a relationship between a noun or pronoun and other words in a sentence. Okay, so this is basically what prepositions are. So any word that tells us what relationship is there between a noun with respect to the other part of the sentence, that particular word is called the preposition. So a preposition tells us four things. What are those? Where something is. So we get to know the location of things or location of nouns or pronouns. We also get to know where something is going. So direction is also something that we get to know with the help of prepositions. Next, when something happens. So time. These are the three things that prepositions tell us: location, direction, and time of a noun or pronoun. And finally, as we have already discussed, it also tells us the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and any other word in a sentence or the rest part of the sentence. To understand what prepositions are in a better way, let us look at some examples. In this sentence, the girl is playing in the garden. Let us identify which word is which parts of speech. So the words that are written in yellow, the girl and garden, both of these words are nouns. Alright, now how these two nouns are related? They are related with the help of the word in, and this is where the preposition comes. We have already discussed that a preposition joins or connects the noun or the pronoun to the rest part of the sentence. Here the word in is doing the same thing. In is the preposition here because it is connecting the girl to the garden. In this example, the dog is sleeping on the table. So here, dog is the noun, table is another noun. So how is the first noun related to the second noun, and how is the noun related to the rest part of the sentence? It is with the help of the word on. On is the preposition here because it is telling us where exactly the dog's location is. It could have been under, it could have been beside, but no, it is on the table. That is why on is the preposition for this example. Here, the kids are playing under the tree. So where exactly are the kids playing? If somebody asks you that, where is their location? So you can tell that they are playing under the tree. So kids is one noun, tree is another noun. So how is the word kids being related to the rest part of the sentence? It is with the help of the word under. Why? Because under is telling us where exactly the location of these kids is. Okay, that is why under is the preposition in this example. So, all the prepositions that we have just now seen in the examples are basically the prepositions of place. So, in, on and under are not the only ones, but there are other words like in front of, on the left of, on the right of, behind, between, next to, near. All these words are prepositions of place. Now students, let us look at this picture carefully. Here you can understand how exactly you're supposed to use each of the prepositions. So with the help of this blue bird, which is most probably an owl, we'll be able to understand. So in the very first picture, you can see there's a wooden block or a box probably, and the owl or the bird is placed right in front of it. Okay. In the second picture, you can see the owl is placed behind the box. In between the two blocks, the owl is placed. So in these cases, you have to use the word between. Around, when the owl is moving around something, the red arrows signify its movement. Okay, so when the owl is moving around, this is how it looks like. Or when you are talking about something that moves around in a similar way, you have to use the preposition around. Across looks like this on the other sides of the roads, on opposite end of the roads. Now through is something which looks like this, okay, from one side to the other side when you are passing through the thing. This is how the word through is used. Next to or beside, both of these mean the same thing. So when the owl is standing right beside the box, this is what it looks like. And among is when it has to be found among many other birds. Alright, many birds are there and you have to identify which one is the owl. So you have to choose the owl among all the other birds. So whenever, it's not just owl, it can be humans, it can be things, it can be various objects. Alright, so when there are many and you have to find out one particular thing, you have to find that particular thing among the whole group. This is how you have to use the preposition among. Now that we have learned quite a bit about the prepositions of place, it's time for you to learn some prepositions of time. As you can see right in front of you, there's a long list of prepositions along with their explanation and examples. So let's discuss one by one. So the word during is a preposition which means when something is happening, we use this particular preposition. And the example for it would be, we stayed at a student hostel during the conference. So when this conference was going on, these people, they stayed at a student hostel. Alright. Now the word for is used with a period of time. When you're talking about the particular period of time, you use the word for. I'm just going to bed for 2 hours or so. So 2 hours is a period of time. That is why for has been used. Now until and till are prepositions which can be used interchangeably. And it means up to. So we waited till or until 6:30 for you. So we waited the time up to, they waited up to 6:30. Alright. Since, it refers back to a previous point in time. So when you're talking about a thing that is being continued from the past into the present, we use the word since. And the example would be 40 years have passed away since they met. So it is something that is getting continued from the past. Alright. From and to, if there is a from in the sentence, it also would be having a to in it. And the meaning of the preposition is to show when something begins and ends. Her visit will extend from Monday to Thursday. So both the prepositions have been used here. Ago. We use it to talk about past times in reference to the current moment. He left the house over an hour ago. Yes, so we're talking about something that refers to the current moment but has happened in the past. A little ago in the past. Alright. So before refer to a point before a specific time in the past. So this is the word which can be used as an example, like she's always up before dawn. Yes, so it refers to a point in time before a specific time in the past. Alright. So by, not later than, or any time until this point. So this sounds a bit confusing. Let's just see the example. He had promised to be back by 5 o'clock. Okay. So by 5 o'clock, whatever will happen before 5 o'clock's time, not after that. After is the preposition which means when we want to say later in time than. Okay. So I felt fairly easy after taking the medicine. Okay, when we are talking about something that has happened after something, okay, later in time, we use the word after. 2, we use it for telling the time when referring to the number of minutes before the hour. So it's 1:45. All right, so it means 1:45 in the clock. So 15 minutes to 2 o'clock. Quarter means that. Past, used to tell the time. So it's 5 past 10, the time that has already passed on. All right, so 5 past 10 means 5:10 in the clock. Between and again are used together. So we use it to talk about time that separates 2 points. So students, don't get confused between from, to and between and. So they lived in New York between 1998 and 2004. So every time you're talking about the word between, you would know that and would also follow. And the last preposition of time here is within, which is used to talk about a period of time. Okay, so you should receive a reply within 7 days. Okay, so something that would happen within a span of time. In those cases, we use the word within. Students, let us have a look at these 3 words: during, for, and while. So all these 3 words are prepositions of time, but many times there's a confusion about what exactly do they mean and how exactly are these supposed to be used. So during is a word that is always used with a noun. So it means to state when something is happening. All right. So the examples are: the students were quiet during the lecture. Okay. So when the lecture was going on, the students were quiet. The fans were cheering during the game. All right. Don't get confused with the ceiling fan. The fans here refers to people or the audience. Okay. Now the word for is used when you're talking about a particular length of time. It means to state how long something happens. And examples: you've been studying for 3 hours. Okay, so 3 hours is a length of time. It is a span of time. That is why we use for in it. We waited in line for a long time. Again, a reference to a length of time. And finally comes the word while, which is used along with the subject and a verb. And it means to talk about 2 things that are happening at the same time. So we talk about 2 things that are happening simultaneously at the same time. So the dog was barking while I was trying to sleep. So 2 actions are taking place. The dog is barking and the person is trying to sleep. 2 things happening together. So you see, after while, the subject is I and the verb is trying. So this is how we use the 3 words during, for, and while. So students, there are not just prepositions of place and prepositions of time, but also prepositions of movement. And these prepositions show us the movement of any particular thing from one place to another. So some of the examples are to, towards, through, across, over, along, in, on, onto. So in and on are prepositions that can also be used in case of time and place as well. So it's not just that you can use these 2 prepositions in case of time and place, but also in movement. So when you are reading the meanings of these prepositions and also reading the examples, I would suggest you to pause your screen and enlarge it if possible, to go through each of the things that are written in this particular slide. Now students, let us have a look at some of the prepositions that can be used in both time and place. So some of those are in, on, and at. As you can see, the word in case of time, the word in can be used in the morning. The example is that. And in case of a place, it can be used as in England. You see, you have to read both the things together. So in case of time, again, in the afternoon, the word in is being used, and in case of place, in Chinatown. All right, so it's not just that place names, but building, car, taxi, boat. You can also use the names of vehicles as well. So this is how we use the word in case of time and place. Let's talk about on. So in case of time, we use on in case of like Monday, Saturday, like days in a week, or dates as well, or a particular date along with the year. So like on 3rd June or 1st October 2013, and in case of holidays as well, particular holidays when the name is mentioned on Christmas Day. All right. And in case of place, we use, again, you see, on a bus, on a plane, on a horse, on the phone, on the internet. This is how you can use the word on or the preposition on, both in case of time and place as well. Now let us talk about at 9 a.m. In case of time, you see, when you're particularly talking about a time, at 9 a.m., at 6 p.m., or even when you're not using a.m. or p.m., you're just using o'clock, at 8 o'clock you can say, or at night, at noon, at midday. Again, in case of holidays, at Christmas, you see, you can write on Christmas Day, something had happened, and at Christmas also. It depends on the kind of sentence that you are writing. Alright, and the word at, in case of place, it can be used as at 675 State Street, at the bus stop, at the door, at the top of the page. So this is how we can use at to talk about the location. Alright, so you have to be very careful about the usage of in, on and at, because these three prepositions can not only be used in case of time but also in case of place. Alright students, with this we come to the end of today's discussion on prepositions. I hope you found this video helpful in understanding more about prepositions. See you soon with another informative video on any of your English topics. So, goodbye everyone.